Hey guys, so I've got another chess short game here for you to enjoy. So this is between two 1500s, very close. So Tommy sent this one in. Tommy's rated 1585, opponent's rated 1589. Tommy has the black pieces. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through this game from the first move. I don't know anything about it. I would assume that the individual who submitted the game won it. Other than that, we don't know anything. I know we're starting with 10 minutes on the clock, and that's it. So it depends where, what is your level. If you're sub 1500, then you might be looking at this game to see how do 1500 level players think. What's the difference between what they do and what you do? And I will try and add my reactions, my thoughts, and my ideas, and my suggestions for maybe what I would play as we go along. But the bottom line is we are here to expand our experience of chess games by looking at other people who aren't title players and to enjoy ourselves. So let's generate some ideas. So what do we have? We have an e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, normal king's pawn opening. So we could go many ways from this, and we've gone Scotch. So the Scotch game. So obviously, like I say very often, you've got Italian game, you've got the Spanish, you've got 3 knights, you could go 4 knights, but this is the Scotch with the d4 move on move 3. Now, what I play is takes. I think ED is the best move for black, I believe. Okay, so what I play is this, and then queen out to h5, which is that the Steinitz variation? But there are lots and lots of ways to go. Okay, so Tommy took, knight took, queen h4, excellent. So here we have, this is exactly what I play. And this is so much fun. It kind of breaks away from my Freddy Krueger repertoire. It is possible to play f5 here, but it's a bit crap. So we don't bother doing it. This, however, is so aggressive and exciting and fun. That's the bottom line. And look, it's a game. And this is a move that I do not know. This is not even in my repertoire. And it seems bad because you've got queen takes e4 check with a fork on the king and the knight. So the only move, surely, is to drop the knight back. Now, the only other option here could also be queen e2. Queen e2 pins our queen on the king. Right, but then what you do is you trade off queens, bishop takes. That may not be too bad, but surely Tommy's going to take the pawn. Tommy takes the pawn, okay. And surely there really only are 2 moves here. Okay, so LE or JE, opponent white, let's call him white, played the knight back. I'd be interested to see actually whether queen e2 is actually a better move according to the machine. Okay, knight f6. Normal developing move. And look, I mean, so often, I think every time that I've played this opening, I get to this point. There's always like a challenge here, and there's a bit of a kerfuffle, and then it kind of settles down. Then you look and you go, oh, I'm a pawn up. And you are invariably a pawn up. And white suddenly has no central pawns. But black does have 1 central pawn. And we play on from here. Okay, so here, I think very standard idea is to pin the knight. It could walk into c3, and then if c3 though, we've then got 2 pieces under attack, haven't we? So that doesn't work. That isn't a good idea. Precious at all. You could drop the queen back. That's not a bad place for the queen. This is also an idea. Kind of tying down this bishop a bit. Let's see what Tommy does. Tommy pins the knight. Now surely c3. c3 is a problem. Because c3, the bishop's under attack and so is the queen. How do you save them both? You haven't even got a good check. You've got queen takes knight. And bishop takes pawn doesn't even come with check. So c3. And surely now, Tommy, we are going to lose material. Yeah, bishop takes. This is a desperado move. Right, we're going to have b takes. And then in terms of compensation, we're going to be down basically a pawn. So Tommy's got 3 pawns. opponent is going to have a bishop and a pawn, right? Actually, oh yeah, because the knight's pinned, right? The knight can't take the queen. I just had a moment there. Right, so surely pawn takes, yeah, okay. So we're technically only one pawn down. Minor compensation as well is that white now has buggered up pawns. That's a technical term. And so white's going to have to castle that away. So what do we do now? I mean, options is castles, d6 or d5, think about getting the bishop out, and then maybe castle long. Castling long is quite appealing in the Steinitz variation. Okay, so we drop bishop out to e6. Now this does allow white to play the bishop out to here, hitting the queen and also preparing to castle. This is only problem. Okay, but white is a little bit more conservative than that. Why not put the bishop there? I mean, it hits the queen again. It's a free turn, and it's defended by both war horses. So, hey. And this allows black to castle instead of having to move his queen. Thank you very much indeed. White castles. d5. It's attacked once. It's defended once. Not there. Okay, but it does allow the bishop now to come off the back rank. It allows us to centralise our rooks, maybe, and think about taking the fight to our opponent. Notice this pawn is undefended. Defended, everything's kind of safe, right? And it doesn't take a moment to do this. Okay, white now plays this knight kind of back to f3, which is all right. So now I'd be looking to develop the bishop. The question is, do you want a fianchetto on b7 and line it up with g2, or I don't really like that square for the bishop. It feels like it's got a lot more work to do. This is move 1, 2, move the pawn 3. But even so, for this bishop to do anything useful in any way, it's still going to take 2 or 3 turns, so you may as well. Okay, Tommy has other ideas. Tommy comes in for the loose pawn. Right, and okay, so this is going to end up in a trade of knights. Now, big question. Do you want to allow opponents to take? Probably not. Probably not. We're going to end up then with 2 pawns on the light squares, which is going to get in the way of this guy, right? He wants that open, right? But the alternative is we take pawn takes, and actually this pawn is still isolated because there's still no e-pawn either to defend it. But it's going to be there. It's going to be blocking up the middle of the board a little bit. But yeah, I'd probably take takes, pawn takes. Okay, okay. Now, one idea here is even to push c6, right? Accept the fact that we're going to have a light squared pawn chain up the middle of the board. Another idea could be to push b6, c5 and try and open up the middle of the board. Problem with this one is that we could end up with rook here at some point, and then we've got an issue with a hard to defend b pawn. So maybe something like this might even be playable. Okay, so Tommy is still not thinking about getting this bishop out into the board, but decides to go straight up with an f5 pawn break. Okay, it's the thought. So obviously knight can't take. Maybe we've got ideas of just driving up forwards, starting a king against king pawn storm, which takes cojones, right? But it's backed up by a rook. It's also got some defense from the bishop. It's got some defense from the knight, some defense from the queen. There's a case to be made. White now counters with f3, hitting our knight. Question is, where does the knight want to go? If the knight comes back here, it's defended by a pawn. It's covering these 2 squares. If the knight comes back here, it's a bit closer to the king, closer to the action. Is that even a thing? No, because bishop takes. So that's out, right? So we've really got 2 reasonable squares here, or even the outrageous c3 and swap itself off for a bishop. We're only slightly down in material, but white does have the bishop pair. I think there's a case to be made, actually, for eliminating that light squared bishop. And we end up then with an opposite coloured bishop's situation. Now, you eliminate the light squared bishop, then you do really want your pawns, I would say, on the dark squares. Maybe. Okay, Tommy goes knight g5. Oh, that knight's still there, can't be taken by the bishop, of course. Okay. This is defended. This is defended only by the queen right now. That's not defended at all. This bishops aren't really doing an awful lot on white's side yet. And this is one thing I like. You leave white with a kind of a tricky situation. Also notice this knight is defended only by this bishop. So if, for example, this bishop comes out there, you go, thank you very much, I'll take the knight with check, and then I'll move my rook at my convenience. Okay, queen now comes down. Okay, that forms a second attacker on here. So again, c6. I would probably have been tempted to play c6 a little earlier. c6, obvs, right? And now we've got a light squared wall, which makes life hard for this guy, but not so hard for this guy. This guy here is quite happy because it can go all the way through here now. And also notice that the queen is also now, having moved from here to here, is also now defending this knight. So it's defended 2 times. However, I spy f4. f4. And the knight can go there, or kind of there, or there, or there. But look, the bishop behind the knight is undefended. So what is this pattern? Well, you've got an undefended piece. That's idea number 1, right? Basically, what changed with this move? Well, what changed is queen was defending bishop, and now queen is not defending bishop. Was defending bishop, no longer defending bishop, okay? So, do we have a piece looking at that? Well, we do, yes, but there's something in the way. Well, we can move that thing out of the way. So, ooh, okay, now, oh, bishop's moved. Bishop's moved, okay. Maybe white saw it. Now, this is now only defended by that because the bishop moving here has now blocked the queen's defense of the knight. God, it's all getting a bit complicated, isn't it? Okay, what would I do here? Would I be tempted to push f4? It's almost saying to the knight, please improve yourself by going to g4. And it's then a target for the bishop, but it is defended by a rook, which is semi-permanent. So, no, okay, well, queen h6. Okay, so what's the idea with this? What's the plan, man? Queen is in line with this bishop too. Got to be a bit careful. I don't get it. Tommy explained that one to me. I don't get that at all. Okay, we now have 2 attackers on this pawnio and only 1 defender. So, oh no, tell a lie, 2 defenders. So again, I want to get this bishop off the back rank. I want to centralize the rooks, right? It's like you've just stalled in development. We're messing about with pieces and we're kind of half attacking, but not really because we're only using half our stuff. And again, okay, rook lift, okay. But what's the plan with the rook lift? I mean, are you going to do like queen there, rook there, aha, suddenly I checkmate you without white noticing? Seriously? That's not going to happen, right? First things first, get the stupid bishop off the back rank, right? Maybe centralize your rooks, try and get some control of the open file. Basics, yeah? But anyway, we have a rook lift. Hang on. I said 2 attackers on here. There's 3. 1, 2, 3, and only 2 defenders. So that pawn is actually takeable. I don't like that move at all. Right, if I was black here, I'd be thinking about putting my knight in there. If bishop takes, pawn takes, and then, you know, shutters come down. White bishop, pretty much out of the game. This pawn is also locked up. I don't know. I don't buy that move. I do not like that move. But hold the phone. What is this? Tommy decides to sacrifice his knight for what? Okay, I mean, yeah, on one level, it's attacking this pawn. But is white just going to take? Like, if white takes, yes, we have a check, but you can't checkmate a king with only a queen. It just doesn't happen. Or rook check. Rook check? Takes. Rook check. King in corner. Queen takes pawn. Maybe. I don't know. Tommy convinced me. Okay, we have takes. Now, which one? Rook. Okay, thought so. Now, this is defended by that rook. This one, however, isn't. So, it's almost like we're giving... Oh, but we're already down a piece, aren't we? Tommy has now lost 3 pieces. White has lost 1 piece and 2 extra pawns. King goes there. Okay, queen takes, but then that's not mate because it's guarded by the knight. Oh, I don't know about this. Yeah, queen takes. Okay, so we've got a pawn back. But now we are basically down 2 pieces for 3 pawns. So we're down the equivalent of an entire minor piece. That's defended, that's defended, that's defended, that isn't. Everything else is kind of okay. And white also is guilty of the same problem of just leaving a bishop in the box. Right? Bishops can be useful. Let's let them play. Right? You don't want to be on the bench for the whole game. Okay, queen comes across. Now just kind of shoring things up. Second defender on the knight. Second defender in a way on the pawn. I don't know. All I can see is this bishop that's still stuck on the back rank, right? And this rook that's still in the box as well. I don't know how we're going to do this. Don't know how we're going to do this. Bishop, thank you. Bishop comes off the back rank, and now we haven't connected our rooks because this one's gone off on a journey. I'm going on an adventure. That doesn't even work, you see. We just haven't got enough bits aimed at this king to blast through and take his head off. Because white has got too many bits defending. Now, if I was the white player now, I'd get my own stupid bishop off the back blooming rank. Yay! Look at this! Developing pieces on move 23. And look! In flies the other rook, and now we're using most of our stuff. Yeah, this bishop's in a bit of a sorry situation because it can't actually go anywhere. It's on lockdown, that bishop. Shame. Okay, so now we're attacking the knight twice, and it's defended twice. What does white do? White says, I know what, let's have a trade of rooks. And at this point, I might play rook here and add a third attacker on there. Or I might play rook here. I don't think I would trade. Okay, rook h6, good. Now this queen must defend this to prevent checkmate. So this queen is now tied down, and that's not a bad thing, right? It's one of those little kind of mini, it's not so much a threat, but it's a bind, right? You're binding your opponent, you're just adding something that's an annoyance and something to remember and something to take into account on all your calculations, which is this queen now cannot abandon the defense of this pawn, right? So she's only got so many squares where she can go. And that is a positive. Okay. Bishop comes back hitting our queen. Our queen will retreat. Off she goes retreating. 1 attacker now, 2 defenders. Okay. Nothing defending. I still can't see how Tommy's going to convert this. Okay, we go forward. So queen can't go there or there. So the queen's now going to have to come back here, yeah? Off she goes. Now the boot's on the other foot because it's like we started an attack but we didn't have enough of a gang to see it through. Okay, bishop now flies in. So what are we going to see g6? I don't know. Are we going to see g6? Yeah. g6 defends the pawn, and now we've got an absolutely rubbish. We might as well just throw that on the floor and carry on with this. It's actually in the way more than anything, that bishop now. Okay, rook comes in. So white is like doing the right kind of things, like building up to an attack. Okay, so what Tommy's doing now is just trying to bust things open, because obviously, yeah, I mean, you've got to do something to release the pressure on this bishop, right? So the idea is maybe if pawn takes, we've got pushes, attack the knight and this pawn at the same time. Takes, pushes, double attack. Happy days. If the knight moves, by the way, we could trade rooks, but then knight can take, or bishop can take, or queen can take, so there's a lot of variations there. Knight moves. Do we trade rooks? No. Oh! Oh, nice. We give check. You see, this is what I'm just really starting to build this into my chess thinking, which is that, yes, we may, you can say, okay, I have an awful pawn wall. I would love for my bishop now to be in line with this king. But pawn walls are not forever, right? Pawn walls can be bent and broken. Has to move. And now a check. And suddenly, stuff gets real, because the king now has to move to here. That can't block because takes. And that can't block because it's on the wrong colour. And that can't block because it's on the wrong colour. And that can't block because it's too important. So king's going to have to move there. And when the king moves there, what do we have? Attacking that with a queen. Got to be a bit careful, king and queen in line, by the way. What evil plans has Tommy got in mind? Are you going to have to trade rooks? And two options to recapture. Trades rooks, yeah. Queen recaptures. Not seeing it. Defends, defends, defends. Undefended, defends. Undefended, undefended. There are holes. Has to be said there's holes. But can the queenie capitalise on these holes? I don't know. Queen there would be checkmate. That would be nice. So how about this? Super. Okay, and now white has a problem to deal with. White has a problem. Bishop can't block. We've had this conversation, right? Nor can that, nor can... no, the queen can't. Only square the queen can get onto, because she's currently on a dark square, is that one, and that's not a good square. So what do? You've got to avoid checkmate. Got 2 minutes 45 left on the clock. That's plenty. Got to avoid checkmate. You can't get there, you can't get there, and you can't get there, and you can't stay where you are. You've got maybe this or this, actually. Just oh, no. Speak too soon, because we've even got queen h1, his mate, as well. Ouch. The king's going to have to move. There's nothing for it. What the hecky thump was that? Eh? What's that? Right, okay, let me tell you how this story goes. Queen h1 check. There's only one legal move. Rook takes h2 check. And I can't visualize it further. Okay, that's so much so obvious. King can't go there, can't go there, can't go there, there. Oh my lord, there's only one legal move. That. And rook takes. And rook takes and queen takes. And resigns. Wow. Tommy, that was brilliantly done. And I just didn't see it, right? From this position, we're sitting there shaking our heads going, what is this crazy Welshman up to? And then suddenly, pawn break, right? You always have pawn breaks. Pawns can move, lines can open up. That is why very often bishops get stronger as the game goes on. And knights can sometimes get less good as games go on because the board opens up. Material comes off the board and doesn't go back on unless a pawn promotes, right? So chess starts off with quite a lot of stuff on the board. Half the squares are filled at the start of the game. As the game goes on, it decays. It falls apart. Stuff comes off the board permanently. And pawns move out of the way. That's what pawns do. Unless they're all blocked off. But even in this case, look, pawn's blocked off, takes, push. Suddenly, boom. You know, suddenly the clouds break, the sun rays come bursting, burning through, and before you know it, you've got a knight under attack, and it's all going terribly wrong. And here, this was really useful. This rook trade. Queen takes, and the queen's now on a dark square, and it's unable to block this attack. And then boom, and it's all over. Good stuff. Very good stuff. I enjoyed that very much indeed. And I hope you did too. I hope you've learned one or two things. I have. You know, you always, every game is a lesson, innit, Sash? Every game is a lesson, innit, darling? Yeah? Okay, well that's it. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.